Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country right here on MKOCRadio.com. The Kendalls, Royce and Jeannie. Together, this Grammy Award-winning duo scored 22 top 40, 11 top 10, and 3 number 1 hits, including Thank God for the Radio, one of our favorites here, Sweet Desire, and Heaven's Just a Sin Away. Since Royce's passing in 1998, Jeannie has recorded 2 solo albums and continues to delight audiences with that signature sound all over the world. And in March, she will become a member of the North American Country Music Association's International Hall of Fame. It's always a pleasure to have her on the show, and I'm so glad she's back with me tonight. Please welcome Jeannie Kendall to My Kind of Country. Jeannie, how are you tonight?
Real good. Good to be here.
Well, great to talk to you again, as always. I always enjoy our conversations.
Well, thank you. I enjoy talking to you, too.
Well, you were telling me before we got on the air you're a little snowed in down there.
Much so, yes. But of course, for you guys, no. It's not much snow. But for us, it's snow.
Now, you're in Arkansas, right?
Yeah, just barely in Arkansas, kind of just a little bit below Branson there.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes we don't, it just, it kind of hovers over that state line there. And sometimes we luck out, and sometimes we don't. I don't know why. It's like it knows, where that line is. I don't know.
That's great. I love it. Well, we hope you're all safe down there. It's no matter where you're at, it can be a sticky situation. So
yeah. As long as we got electric food and heat and all that, it's fine.
Amen to that. And good music. You always got to have music too.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Well, how was your holiday season?
It was real good. We enjoyed it. Had a few relatives come in around the holidays and such. And my mom had a birthday. She has in December there, early December, and so we had a bunch of relatives come down for that. And so it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's fantastic! Great. Your mom's doing okay?
Yeah, she's doing real good, and so that's a blessing. Mom and I live together here. She moved with me when, unfortunately, when my husband passed away about 6 years ago, and so she said she didn't want me to be by myself, so she moved over here, and that's been a real blessing for me to have her around, and so we have pretty good fun together, us and our little dog.
Oh, that's great. That's great. We, my mom lives with us too, and she's 94. She just turned 94 on New Year's Day. And, she tells me sometimes, I can't believe you do all this stuff for me. And I said, you took care of me for the first 18 years of my life. I guess I can take care of you for a while,
That's right. Yeah, Mom says that, too. I'll say, well, you want me to fix you this? No, I can fix it. No, and I said, well, give me the joy of doing something sometimes.
Well, that's great.
That's where they are, though. But it's good that they like to be independent, though. It's, that's why they are who they are, and how come that they hang around for more years,
Oh, yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, my mom is still gets around great, and sometimes I still get that mom look. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Jeannie, congratulations on your induction into the North American Country Music Association's International Hall of Fame this year. I'm so excited and looking forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a great show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and thank you very much for the opportunity to do that. We're looking forward to Carl Acuff, who sings with me. He's going to come down and sing with me and everything, and so I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, I know it will be. And I have to tell you, I think Carl is one of the nicest people I've met in the business. I always have so much fun talking with him, and he's just a genuinely nice man. And you guys sing so well together. And he puts on a great show, a great band, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful package show that you put out there.
Oh, well, thank you. It's just been a real blessing. He's just a real good person and real good family person and everything. He's got his little family and, and everything, and they're real sweet. And then he's always got a good band, and they're a lot of fun to travel with and everything. So it's just a real good blessing to me to have somebody to sing and play with. I don't have to worry about all the everyday band things and all the business part of it. I just kind of go out there and sing. So that's the way I like it.
Well, that's what you do best. So that gives you all the focus right on that, and you can go out and put on a great show, which you certainly do. And we've seen you a couple times up here in Michigan. We saw you last June, and I really should be having my daughter do this interview today because as you know, she's such a big fan of yours, and she knows every time I need to know something about the Kendall, she'll tell me.
Yeah, sometimes people know more than you know about your own self.
Yeah,
Seems like.
it's amazing. Well, she was thrilled to see you again, and she's got her scrapbook there, and she was thrilled that you signed that for her. And she's
Yeah, I remember doing that. Yeah, she's
oh man,
real cutie.
she'll be with us in March too, so she's looking forward to seeing you guys. And we always have such a great time down there. And folks, that is at the Country Tonight Theater in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's going to be on Saturday, March the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can get your tickets at countrytonightpf.com and also the NACMAWordpress.com website. And we have a NACMA site or page on our website as well. You can go and get all the show information. And in addition to Jeannie Kendall, you're going to see the great Rex Allen Jr., Dick Dameron, Joyce Smith, Riley Madison, and Margie Singleton. It's going to be a great show.
Oh, that sounds good. I didn't really know who else was going to be there, and I'm glad to hear it because they're all real good folks, and I love them all. So that'd be a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. And it's, one of the most fun things. We were there last year, and one of the most fun things is getting to see all of you guys backstage together. And sometimes you don't get to see each other often because you're all touring in different directions. But it's so cool to see the camaraderie and hear the stories and everything.
Oh yeah, it's we've all had a blessed life to be able to do what we really love to do. Most of us, I'm sure. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I kind of. When I was little, I just loved to do that, from the beginning. And, of course, my daddy sung, with his brother before, so I was kind of around it, part of my life there. But really, it's like getting to do the most fun thing that you like to do that is sort of like your hobby to start with, but you actually get to do it for a living. So it's a real blessing because everybody doesn't get to do what they like to do for a living. So I'm always grateful every day to be able to do that.
Well, that's absolutely right. And you kind of bridge the gap there. It's, as most musicians will tell you, it's very hard being on the road and away from your family. And you got to have your dad right there with you. So how cool is that?
Right, that's right. And then I had my husband also. So, and then for the first traveling years more, my mom went with us. So she kind of got tired of going with us. She was decorating houses and doing things like that, and she'd seen the show a few times, so she didn't go later. But really, we pretty much did take our family with us all the time.
Oh, that's great. Now, as you kind of put on different hats when you're performing, and you kind of step into the the spotlight and become the Kendalls, and then you've got your dad there. Was there kind of a division there, or did you guys kind of blur those lines, and did he kind of slip into dad mode on you sometimes, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. He was always daddy, that's sure. But he was always really good to get along with, and we just really had a good relationship for, I know sometimes duets or groups or whatever don't get along well, but we did. And not that we never had an argument, because we did have argument every once in a while, but nothing ever important, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I don't know. We always got along well and just enjoyed singing. One thing about Daddy is he just loved to sing more than anything, and it was kind of like a second chance for him to do it, since he didn't really get to go on and proceed with his brother, and so it was just kind of well, let's just take everything, sell everything, go to Nashville and do it, because he gave me the opportunity to do what I dreamed of, which he still had that dream back there too, so we both had the same goal and same dream in life, I think.
How when you first started out, how were you perceived as being a father and daughter duo by the industry?
Pretty much, this will never work. But for some reason it didn't seem to bother us too much. We just went on, and did our music and just went on and sung, and it worked. I think sometimes if you don't believe the naysayers of what's going to happen, and you just, I guess we were too stupid to know any better. We just went on. I don't know.
Well, your first album was on Stop Records, and it was called Meet the Kendalls, and it's a very kind of a very different style than what you did later on. Was that something that you kind of changed your style, or did they kind of say, hey, we want you to do these songs? And
well, actually, our very first one, Pete Drake was our producer, and really at the beginning when we first started recording that album, we didn't really have very much access to material, and we really didn't live in Nashville at the time. We lived in St. Louis or near St. Louis County area, and anyhow, we didn't have some of that material, and I think also we were real. I think we sounded a lot like Northerners, an awful lot. You know what I mean? We didn't, accent-wise, I think too. You live all your life up in that area, and I think that's partly what changed as we moved to Nashville and just kind of absorbed it all. You know what I mean? And just changed into that. But then we had more opportunities for more material. Did some of our own writing and just kept on getting different ideas of what we wanted to do. And Pete Drake, we did some pop covers and we did different things like that. And Pete Drake would just pick things out, and he'd say he just figured we could do it, whatever it was. He had a lot of confidence in us, and so he would do that. And so really, actually, at the last album we did. Let's see, we were on United Artists. We didn't have an album on it, but he wanted to do kind of Lehman Brothers kind of style music and things like that. And the label didn't really want to do that, and so he thought, well, let's just do some pop music or whatever. But that really wasn't what Daddy and I wanted to do. He figured we could do anything we wanted to. Like I said, he had a lot of confidence in us, but we just didn't. We weren't really wanting to do that, and so we never had any harsh words or anything. We just had to win a little bit of different direction. So we waited around a while before we got on another label. And then our friend Brian Fisher, who produced a lot of our hits there, Heaven's Just Sent Away and a lot of the other things. Well, we would get together probably at least every other day and have lunch and talk about what we wanted to do and this and that, and do some demos and figure out what we wanted to do. And we had the same idea about, kind of a vocal sounds that we wanted to do. And in the meantime, we would sit at home and maybe we would work on a song, and Daddy would put that little extra part on there, the extra third, because almost everything is got two parts of him on there. And we hadn't really done that before. Before, when we did a lot of recordings, we had a background group. Not that that's a bad thing, but we wanted to have a certain, more of a group sound, and we didn't really want it like that. But because we wanted to have a more unique sound. And so that's what we want. That was our plan for the Heaven's Just Sent Away album. When we first started doing it, we did our demos and this and that, and it seemed to sound like we wanted it. And so we just proceeded on and found songs. And Daddy, he was really good at looking for songs and such. And so that's what we did.
Wow. Do you remember the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio, and do you remember what song it was?
Oh, I think it was Leaving on a Jet Plane.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure that was the first one I heard, I think. I don't know. It's been a long time. But yeah, and it was an exciting thing, I think, though, the most exciting thing was when Heaven's Just Sent Away was out, and we were living in Nashville, and we were listening to a radio station, and they came on and they said, "Quit calling us, we're going to play it." And so, because they were getting so many requests for Heaven's Just Sent Away, they had to say, "Quit calling us, we're going to play it." And so that was about the most exciting thing we had, I think, on that, because that bit is still really good,
Oh, yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a smash one for you, and of course, Sweet Desire, and thank God for the radio. That's a very favorite of mine, and obviously doing a radio show, there's a lot of times where I'll open my show with that one. It's a good theme song for us.
Well, thank you. It's one of my favorites that we ever recorded, too. I mean, through the years, I don't it's just more and more my favorite, I think.
I think so too. I noticed you opened your show the last time we saw you with that song too, and that's great.
Yeah, I do. I like to do that. It just feels good, kind of starts the show off well.
Well, not to give away any of your secrets, but do you have your songs picked out for the NACMAI show?
I think so. I think maybe Carl sent him what we were going to do. I'm not really positive now. Now that I think it's been a while, but I think it'll definitely have "Thank God for the Radio," and it'll definitely have "Heaven Just Sent Away." I can tell you that.
Well, good, good. I'm looking forward to that. And folks, Jeannie's website is the Kendalls, JeannieKendall.com, and we'll put that information on our Facebook page as well. And you can order music, of course, at Amazon and iTunes and all the usual places. And Jeannie, you have 2 fabulous solo albums too that you've done in more recent years too. We've played a lot of those songs, including Smoky Lonesome. I absolutely love that one. And you've got a great album, All the Girls I Am. Great duets with Alan Jackson. You've done a lot of great material.
Well, thank you. Try hard, but it's fun to do those things, and did a lot of different kinds of material and such, and it was interesting, and I enjoyed that, And it's always good to be able to sing with somebody else, because that's really the big thing that I enjoy doing. I don't really still yet consider myself as a solo artist, because to me I'm just not. I just like to sing with other people.
Well, sure. Well, you were always the front person, and I think a lot of people considered your stuff solo, even though it wasn't. It was a duo, but you certainly have stood on your own 2 feet, and you have a very distinctive voice. And I'm curious to know what are some influences that you had as maybe growing up or developing your own singing style. What are some people that kind of influenced your sound?
Well, really, I listened to a lot of male artists more than female artists, and Daddy and I were always trying to kind of have our own sound, because when we started, if you sounded like somebody else, that was a kiss of death. You didn't want to sound like somebody else, really. You wanted to have your own style,
Sure.
I mean, now it seems like, the line's a little bit more blurred, and sometimes you don't know who somebody is. But used to, if you turned on the radio, you would know exactly who that was. They didn't really have to tell you, So, there was a different thing back then. And so, I listened really Glenn Campbell and Buck Owens and and people like that. And then I had a lot of folk influence. I listened to a lot of groups and other things like that in that time period.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. When I do my shows, I don't do a lot of talking on my shows. I tend to just, play songs, and I'll jump in once in a while. But, you brought up an interesting point. Most of the music that I play, you're absolutely right. You know who it is in the first few bars of the song, and so I don't need to say who it is,
Right. Well, there's some people's music that even before they sing, you know what it is. It's a style. It's just a intangible thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, the music and their style of music and styles of songs, So, and that's an important thing too, I think, you have to kind of have that groove there. For that time period, you had to have your own thing there,
Absolutely.
A lot of people used, musicians that were studio musicians. They still had, they would kind of try to find a style. I mean, like if you listened to a Tammy Wynette record, you had a Tammy Wynette style of music, and you knew that, too, and a lot of things like that, So I think that was very important, and it shows the creativity, of a lot of players back then, I think. And sometimes I think they're underestimated, or they think, well, you got to have your own band. Nowadays, that's a little bit more the thing, I think. But I believe that, of course, you can get records either way. It just depends on what your style is. But I've always used, or Daddy and I always used a lot of fabulous players, through our career, and I give them a lot of credit for hit records that we had.
Oh, absolutely. And there, a lot of those guys are still recording. I saw Pig Robbins last year playing piano, and he's still, just as fabulous as he always was. And it's, there's a big difference too when you're recording as opposed to when you're performing the songs live. So, session musicians tend to be more acclimated to doing recordings, whereas road musicians are more acclimated to going out and doing live sound, and it's quite a difference.
That's true. That's true. But, of course, recordings change so much anyway, from beginning to end, So when you see it where you've started off on using 8 tracks until to infiniteness, what I mean? There's a big difference there. But, but I embrace the technology. It's good to have when you need it, and it's a good thing. But I still do like to record live. I like my live vocal. A lot of times it'll be a situation where they don't even try to EQ. They don't try to do anything because they assume you're going to redo it anyway. Well, a lot of times you do anymore because it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But I also like to have it as an option, because there's something to me that's a lot better about recording with a whole group and the excitement of the whole thing and the magic that happens in the studio that makes a hit record. It is totally intangible to me. I mean, you can have one cut versus another cut, and there's a big difference in them. You know what I mean? Because it's not always the notes you hit or how perfect it is. It's the emotion that comes from the record.
You're absolutely right. I couldn't have said it better myself. I play a lot of live recordings on my shows. I like listening to live recordings because it presents the artist how they really are, and sometimes, I'm sure you can back me up on this. Sometimes when you're performing live, songs kind of evolve as you do them on the road, and you kind of make them fit even better to your voice and to what you're thinking. When you're playing them out live.
I never master a song. I'm working on it all the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. It kind of evolves as you go. And of course, there's days that you are just on. I mean, you are in the mood for singing. You are happening. It's flowing and you're not thinking. So the less thinking I can do, the better singer I am. Sometimes your mind is going into other things, and you're thinking about what you're going to do, what you did do, whatever. So the less thinking I can do, the better. And just let it flow out is the best that I can do. I can't always do that, but but I try to.
Oh, that's great. I was watching the Country's Family reunion that you were on, and Darren and Rhonda Vincent were singing with you. That was absolutely stunningly beautiful harmony.
Oh, well, thank you. And they just barely, she barely heard what I was going to do, and then her brother didn't even get to do the rehearsal. So I mean, they're fabulous harmony singers, and of course they were on the acoustic album I had out, and they really made a huge difference. I don't think that it could have been, the kind of album it was at all without them. Really, they really enhanced it so much. They did a fabulous job.
Absolutely, and
it's so sweet of them to do it for me. And both of them, they're so successful and so, such wonderful singers and players and such. And I'm just thankful to have them as friends.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought it was a testament of the influence that you've had on newer generations, because I watched Rhonda Vincent as you were singing. She never took her eyes off of you, and she was phrasing with you, and you could just tell how excited and thrilled she was to be singing with you, and I thought that was such a cool thing to watch.
Well, she couldn't have been more excited than I was, because I love her singing, and she's just so multi-talented. I did get to go. She was in Branson back. It was after we had done the album, and see her in Branson, and it was really good, and I really enjoyed that. Actually, I saw her a couple different times up there, and that was an exciting thing, too.
Absolutely. Well, that is a great album. I'm going to play some song. I want to play "Timeless and True Love," the duet with Alan Jackson. That's such a beautiful song, and some of the great harmonies. You've got Alison Krauss on the album, Ricky Skaggs, and of course we talked about Rhonda Vincent, Alison Moore. It's beautiful, beautiful voices on this album. And of course, your dad too is your dad's on a couple of the tracks here, and these were songs you recorded right before he passed away, right?
Yes, they were. Actually, we had some tracks that we had already done in Nashville, and we were just doing our vocals at home, and some vocal parts and vocal things. And actually, we would have had probably more with him on it, but it was the first time we'd used the machine, and we didn't exactly. We kind of cut it a little too hot, and so when we sent it, it wasn't acceptable. So we had to back off a little bit, and so we had to redo some things. And so otherwise, we would have had some other ones on there, but I was just thankful to have what we had on there.
Absolutely, and that album is just called Jeannie Kendall, and her other solo album is called All the Girls I Am, and those are available at her website, the Kendalls, JeannieKendall.com, and of course on Amazon and iTunes. And I would imagine you'll probably have some of those with you at the NACMAI show as well, right?
Probably. I hope so. I'm not don't get out of them if I get them all in like I'm supposed to. I hope so.
Well, that's great. We're certainly looking forward to that. Jeannie, are you thinking about doing some more recording at all?
Well, actually, Brian Fisher, that I was talking about earlier, we were going to do that, but unfortunately, he got sick and he passed away last year. We had plans of doing some more recordings, and last time I had talked to him, oh yeah, I'm just going to keep on recording stuff and doing things. He just, wanted to keep on keeping on, and he was well as far as I knew, but it just didn't work out, and that's what happened. And so, unfortunately, so many here in my life have passed on. I just, and I really do miss him, and of course, Brian was. Kind of like my dad's best friend too,
Yeah.
And so we had all that connection, and we just of all those years of enjoying, making music together, and I really do miss it. And of course, I miss my daddy so much, and I miss my husband, who was such a fabulous guitar player, and besides being the best husband, but I don't like to think in the negative. I just think of how blessed I was to have everybody, but I just didn't get to have them as long as I wanted to. But I guess God just wants to. He has a plan, and I can't deny him that plan. He knows best. But I have, had such a blessed life. I can't complain.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure that they would have wanted you to carry on, and I hope that at some point you'll be able to get some new music out there, because I know you've got fans that'll just eat that right up, including us.
Well, thank you. Maybe an opportunity will come that I can do, what we need to do, what kind of music, whatever that is at the time. I don't know, but I would still like to do, a really a good project, and if the right thing comes along, I may do that. We'll just see.
Well, that'll be great. That'll be great. Well, folks, again, it's Saturday, March the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Country Tonight Theater, Pigeon Forge, the 2018 North American Country Music Association's International Hall of Fame show. And come and see Jeannie Kendall perform and get her award. It's going to be a great show with lots of other entertainment. And, of course, we'll be there broadcasting the show live. And, Jeannie, we're looking forward to seeing you. And I want to thank you so much for taking time to come back on the show. It's always a pleasure. And we're going to play a bunch of your music now. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. Pleasure talking to you. And sometime I'll get out of this snow-covered wonderland.
Well, hopefully by March we'll have a thaw or something,
Anyway, no, I'm just looking forward to March. See, now March, we shouldn't have any snow in March now. Let's hope not on that.
No, it was beautiful last year. We had rain when we got down there, but after that it cleared up and it was beautiful. So.
All righty. Well, that sounds good to me.
All right.
We're looking forward to going and doing that, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, be sure to tell Carl we said hello, and Merritt says hey, and looking forward to seeing you in March.
All righty. Thank you.
All right, that is Jeannie Kendall right here on My Kind of Country. We're going to play some great music from Jeannie's solo albums and some of her great hits with the Kendalls as well as we continue right here on MKOCRadio.com. Thanks again, Jeannie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.